Hi everybody, welcome to Footy Life and Property with Rob, Rach and Millie. We're here to talk about the best in sports, lifestyle and real estate advice to help you make the most informed decisions and get the most out of life. So whether you're a die-hard footy fan like us, a home buyer looking for the perfect property or an investment property or a commercial space, or you're just looking for some helpful tips and tricks that we can pass on, you'll find it here. So kick back, relax, and let us help you get the most out of life and hopefully a few laughs along the way. So, Rob, we're turning the tables this week. Who are we talking about this week?
Well, apparently we're talking about the mighty Cronulla Sharks, which are an amazing football team based in the south, down on the coast, about a half an hour out of the Sydney CBD.
Yeah, gorgeous spot.
Beautiful place to live. Very good football team. Going through a massive redevelopment at the moment.
I'm perplexed. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry, because they're not an amazing football team. Let's do some backpedaling. Young. They've been around since 64.
Yeah.
So they're the same age as you. So they're heading to 59 this year. They're not young at all. They've won one grand final.
Well,
one grand
they're
final.
like a good wine. They take a while to mature.
Oh no, they're like I'm not going to insult the Italian side of the family. So they're like a cheap ass red. Not going to get any better.
Okay, well, since you claim to know so much about the Cronulla football team, I'm going to throw it over to you. Tell us all about them.
Well, as I did say, they were established in 1964. They joined the New South Wales Rugby League in 1967. Mega time between drinks. They actually didn't win their one and only grand final in 2016. 2016.
When I think they had the whole of Sydney cheering for them.
Yes. I think they did actually. Yeah. So, Craig Fitzsimmons is their current coach. Wade Graham is their captain. Strong rivalry between them and their neighbouring team, the mighty St George Dragons.
They lost by 30 points on the weekend.
Yeah, actually it was 32 because they thumped us 40-8. But then we won't digress. We'll talk about this weekend's game because they're playing.
Let's not digress, no.
No, that's in the past. We won't talk about that. That was yesterday. So they're actually facing the Warriors on the weekend, which is going to be really interesting because the Warriors have had a really good start to the season as well. So, Cronulla have had a pretty good start, realistically. They're 6 on the ladder. They have, I think they've won 2. They've been more consistent than St George and West Tigers.
Excuse me, no, Wests are consistent. We lose every week. So we're 100% consistent.
Anyway, so it should be a good match on Sunday against the Warriors. So it's actually a home game for the Cronulla Sharks. I'm sure everybody will get down there and support their team like they always do. They're not in their new space they've got down there. All the grandstands are now completed and ready to go. So they do have a good supporter base.
They do.
Considering they've only won one grand final, like one premiership, their fans are loyal.
They are.
Through and through.
They've been promised a lot and delivered a little.
Yeah, at one stage I did like them because I had to, remember Andrew Eddinghausen? Anyway, that's probably the only reason I would have digressed and been a Sharks supporter.
Didn't do it for me.
Oh, I'm sure the girls of my age know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Short shorts. Anyway, do you want to talk about property?
Oh, what a flick pass. But before we get on to property, what about your third football team?
Okay,
of course, every week we've been hearing about the Dolphins. Oh, praise the Dolphins. They're going to win the competition, national. Guess what? They lost.
Calm your farm, Elliot. I will talk about the Dolphins, and I will preface this by saying I did say on last week's podcast, if you were all listening, that the team that studied their play would beat them. And what happened? It was the Bronx. So, and the best team running around the league at the moment, undefeated. I know we're only 4 weeks in. I know it's only early days.
It's early days, yeah.
But, maybe it was a good thing. And it was a good thing that the Dolphins did lose. It was a fantastic game. And that is what we want for footy. 2 professional sides coming together. It was like the clash of the titans. It was such a good game, going back and forth. I think I yelled and yelled and yelled. Didn't make any difference.
No.
My couch coach certification did not help one little bit.
Actually, we're thinking of revoking it.
So I'll be on my L's again next week.
Yeah. Going back to reserve grade. But in saying that, Cronulla, it's a great football team, really. It is. They love their long hair. They love their beautiful drinks and their cappuccinos. But why wouldn't you? Look where they live. Cronulla, if you were looking at a place where you to live within a half an hour of Sydney CBD, without the tourists, but absolutely beautiful. Cronulla Beach, I spent many a time as my misspent youth getting sunburnt, going to the pub, going to see live bands. It is a beautiful place in the world. It is, not cheap, but not dear. I mean, the average price there is $3.3 million for a house. And people might say that's a lot. But I tell you what, anyone who's not from Sydney, you go there, it's worth every cent.
But if you compare like the beachside living of Cronulla to the eastern suburbs, when, still beautiful beaches, the climate's a bit different, but I think Cronulla's a bit more relaxed. You're that
Very
far
chilled.
away from the city not to be as congested as the the eastern suburbs.
Yep.
Still, like the population is huge in that Cronulla southern area. Like it is a large area, but I don't think it feels like everybody is on top of each other in those areas.
I think it's because the actual suburb of Cronulla, while Cronulla Sutherland, as Sydney people know it as the Shire, is massive, there's only 18,000 people live in the suburb of Cronulla. And you can buy a unit there for around $1 million. And you can rent them out for about $550 a week, and you're getting about $1,300 a week for a house. So value for money is pretty good. Square meterage, you go to Vaucluse, you go to Bondi, you're not going to get what you get at Cronulla there for the same price. Now, in saying that, when you look at all the search data, now that's when people go online and they're searching where they want to live. The suburb of Cronulla is one of the top ranked suburbs when people are searching where they want to live in Sydney. So it shows that it's good. The houses, now people have been talking about, everything's going to crash 30, 40% by all the boffins that have never bought or have nothing to do with real estate. But guess what? In the last 3 months, house prices in Cronulla have gone up over 5%. Units have dropped over 4%. But that isn't because of any other reason of supply. There's been a lot of new developments going there, a lot of quality developments going in there. I mean, you think about it. You can buy a very small unit close to the city, or you can buy yourself a lovely unit within walking distance of one of the most beautiful beaches in the country for $1 million, $1.1 million.
It's interesting you say that though, because when we do watch national news and they're talking about, the downturn in property in the Sydney market, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, Sydney is not just one market.
No.
So we have multiple markets in Sydney. So we have the Shire, we've got the eastern suburbs, we've got the inner west, we've got the North Shore, we've got the northern beaches, then we've got the Kellyville, that northwest area, there's Penrith, there's Hawkesbury, and there's the southwest.
Yeah.
So we are completely different property markets, and we're not impacted the same as a blanket one property market.
Yeah.
I think that's the same when you look at all major capital cities. They would be the same. They would have multiple markets within their property market. So if you are looking for a property, if you're frightened about getting into the market because you're hearing these so-called experts saying, it's all, as Robert said, it's all doom and gloom, then it's actually not. It's depending on where you want to buy and what you want to do with the property. Whether you want to buy the property for owner-occupied, you're going to live in it, or you're looking at an investment. And then with an investment, there are two scenarios that you need to look at, whether you're looking at it for yield or you're actually looking at to increase in value. So when you're doing your investment property analysis, or if you're hiring a buyer's agent such as ourselves, that's what we would do for you. That's what you really need to look at. And I think that's why us buyer's agents, I think we add so much value to anybody who's coming into the property market, because of the experience that we do have in buying and selling properties.
And there's a lot of synergies between Cronulla, the football club, and Cronulla, the suburb. Cronulla, the football club, owns their ground. owns their leagues club.
Yeah.
Not many football clubs own their grounds. They lease them.
Smart business.
And they've just done and redeveloped all the way around it. So they're very, very financially viable. But their catchment, now this is something you look at when you're buying a house to rent for future growth in your house. And the football club are smart. Where Cronulla's situated, they pull from the city, they pull from the west, and they pull from Wollongong. Now, Wollongong for many years was classed as the ugly duckling. Why would you go there?
Incredible.
Quite the opposite now. So a lot of people, there are multi-million-dollar homes down in Wollongong these days, and people live there and commute to Sydney.
All along that coastline, all along from Heathcote down into the
all the way to
Gulf.
Kiama, yeah.
That is just that beautiful coastline. It's magnificent.
So you've got, they're smart because they're pulling fans from out of the Gong. They're pulling fans from all over Sydney to Cronulla. Now, Cronulla itself, the suburb is doing the same. So it's really worth a good look at a property there because being an investment, being an owner-occ, there are massive opportunities over there if you do your homework. And it doesn't matter if you engage us or someone else, but do yourself a favour and engage a buyer's agent and engage a good mortgage broker because they're going, or both of them working together are going to save you a lot of money. But we're going to get back onto the football. 3 rounds in, sometimes, people go out early, they win a lot of games. Sometimes start slow, like mine. We're supposed to get going, but I don't know if we're going to get going again this year. But we will, we hope. It is interesting to see now there's a lot of injuries coming in.
It's a hard game.
It's a hard game.
This modern game is a really hard game. And I love football. I'm a footy tragic. But I don't like when they tackle a player to hurt them. And you can tell the teams that do that. That's their goal. Their goal is not just to tackle to take the player down. They're there to take the player out.
Yeah.
So I just think in this day and age when a footballer's career is so limited that needs to be stamped out of the game. I have been impressed so far, like I know we're only 4 weeks in, by the bunker. The bunker has made a huge difference this year. It's been really fair in the decisions that it has been making. I'm hoping that does continue.
The Howlers haven't been there that were there. We only had a couple. Where last year we're getting 2 or 3.
Yes, there was only this weekend. There was a few decisions that should have been
average.
that were average. But on overall, we're talking overall for the decisions that they have made in the 4 weeks that the comp has been going, been very fair and very very based. I think not like last year where it was very biased. Now,
we always get towards the end, we always talk about a life question. And there has been a theme about granddaughter and Nana. So we've got over the broken lolly jar, we've got over everything else. Now, this is a tale for you nanas out there and one for you grandpas to watch. When you go to your local show, like we have the Camden show not far from us. Now, people who don't know, the Camden show is the largest show outside of the Royal Easter Show in Sydney. They get over 40,000 people.
No, it's the largest show in New South Wales.
Yeah.
And still a country show.
And it is amazing, but they're all locals. It is volunteer run. But there's a lot of people that come in and they're professionals and they run their things. Now, most of us, when we go and buy something, check the price. Not nanas. So...
hang on. Not this Nana.
So we know we want to look after our grandkids. So what happened on Saturday night after you showered lots of love on your grandchildren and you sat in the car and looked at your app, your banking app that said what you spent? We're not going to use the words because I don't have enough beeps to do it, but what were your thoughts when you looked and saw how much you spent on certain items?
Okay, so I bought a red slushie for my granddaughter in one of those cups with the big straw and the mermaid on it. $15. I was expecting about $8. $15.
And there's better than this.
And the stupid bloody container, put it in the dishwasher and it melted. So there's your $15 down the drain. Anyway, moral of the story.
No. There's a clanger yet. She's going to try and get out of this one before we finish.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Ellie. Just shut up and let me finish, will you?
I'm
trying to tell my story.
Okay.
The moral of the story is ask before you tap.
Okay, that's fine. So did we get Italian silk gold-lined bows for the hair.
Yeah.
It was dark, I'll give you that. But yes, that would be correct.
They'll look pretty in her hair. Doesn't matter. I wasn't worried about the bows.
Yeah, well,
The bows are reusable and they're here to stay, and they can be passed down to the next grandchild that doesn't, she's also gorgeous.
That's true. Yeah. And then to their kids and their kids after, because I'll actually go up in value, I think.
Yeah, bossy boots, sadly, but anyway.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So it's been an absolute hoot the last few weeks. We've had a ball.
Yes.
The property market's bouncing all over the place, but I can tell you now it's not dropped like they said. It is what we call flatlined in a lot of areas and corrected in most.
Yes, correction. I would say, yeah, I never talk about the property market dropping. I don't want to be negative Nelly. I always like to look at the positives. I think last year there were corrections, but I also do believe that the property market was inflated. So that's why you do have a correction. At the moment, homes that are priced correctly, particularly in our area where we live in the Macarthur district, outside in Sydney, they're selling. So
very much so.
People can see that there's value for the property and what it's worth. And some houses have been quite competitive, particularly going to auction. It's still very competitive here. It's the homes where they haven't been maintained. And it's quite disappointing actually. So in some parts of the area, homes are 30 and 40 years old, but they haven't been maintained. Like they've still got the original kitchen, still the original bathrooms, the original floor coverings, haven't been maintained outside, the pergolas haven't been painted. Just simple maintenance. So if you are actually looking at putting your property on the market, have a really good look about what's in the house. What do you think needs to be repaired? Get someone in, like for us as a buyer's agent. We've done that for friends who want to sell down the track and want to do a fresh set of eyes to come and say, what should we do in the house? What should we actually spend money on to make money? And our advice to them was to declutter the house. Yeah. That first and foremost, declutter and depersonalise your house. I know you're still going to live in the home, but buyers coming in don't want to see all your personal stuff. I don't want to see your knickknacks that you've had for 50 years. I don't want to see your dust collectors and your 1,000 photos of your grandchildren and your pet chihuahua and your pet ferret. So you actually need, well, some people might have a ferret, whatever floats your boat. I'm not judgy, Rob. But anyway.
Ferrets?
People have ferrets, have snakes. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Not all of us have dogs and cats, People have exotic animals.
Yeah, so, you could call them that, yeah.
You could call them that. So, anyway, you're just trying to throw me off what I was saying. Yeah, but
100%.
You were. So if you are looking to sell, then get a fresh set of eyes in. Not just your real estate agent, but, buyer's agent. We're happy to do that for you, to give you advice where it's required.
So, guys, before we wrap up, just letting you know, if there's a football team you want us to have a look at or an area you want us to have a look at, drop us a line. If you are fair dinkum about investing or buying in a certain area, drop us a line with your email and your details and we'll send you a free property report on that area. That's going to give you so much information that you're going to go, wow, this is, you don't get this information from your real estate agent.
Yep.
You don't get it from any of the real estate websites where I've got access to information that no one else has.
Yeah, all over the country.
All over the country. So
the best way to do that is through our website. So if you go on to lansdownproperty.com.au, contact us with your details and send us a quick message. Both mine and Rob's contact details are on the website. You can also contact us through our LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're on all those platforms, and we're happy to send you, as Rob said, a report on the suburb that you're interested in buying around Australia.
And I'm going to say that's all from me. Have a groovy week.
Yep. Peace out, peeps. Take care.
Stay cool. Bye now.